jobless claims are rising to an 11-month high, and with the latest ADP data showing smaller than expected private job growth in July, it's more important than ever to be strategic when looking for your next gig. Here with some tips on how to stick out from the rest of the field. We've got Andrew McCaskill, who is the LinkedIn career expert. Andrew, great to see you, and thanks for joining us. I mean, you were just hearing us break down some of these labor market statistics and the readings that are coming in. And one of the huge things that I kind of point back to is what we got from ADP, and we heard from the chief economist, Naylor Richardson of ADP, saying that with wage growth abating, the labor market is playing along with the Federal Reserve's effort to slow inflation. If inflation goes back up, it won't be because of labor. I'm not going to ask you about inflation, but for those out there that are trying to make sure that if they do need to get a new job or a new gig, how they can best make sure to maximize the wage that they're able to get, knowing that they're probably trying to offset some lingering inflation.
Listen, I think that right now it is absolutely employers are in the pole position in a way that we haven't seen in the last 18 to 24 months. I think that, for folks out there right now, unemployment is still low, right? But job quits are down. You just talked about that. Job quits are down. We haven't seen companies talking about layoffs, and people are staying in place in their jobs. The great sort of resignation and the great reshuffle, which we called it, that is over. I think this is probably the beginning of the great stay. People are looking at, it's an election year. They're looking at a lot of the uncertainty in the market, and they're staying in place at jobs, even if they're sort of iffy about said job. And so folks are saying, well, look, if unemployment is down, if people aren't getting laid off, why the hell is it taking so long for me to find a job if I'm a person who's in the job market right now? It's that the market is highly competitive. Companies are still hiring. Hiring has stabilized, and companies are making really tough decisions about, I really want to make sure that I get the right person in place for this role because I'm not going to be hiring for a while. And I would say, and this is, I'm not an economist or a fortune teller, but I can tell you that we're going to be hearing this for at least the next 12 months, that the market is incredibly competitive for jobs.
With that in mind, and this is the first that I've heard the great stay, and perhaps some of our viewers as well. So how long do you anticipate people, employees, and those in the labor force are thinking out, or at least gaming out, staying in current roles in order to make sure that they can outlast some of the larger macro effects that perhaps concerning and keeping them in those positions?
Yeah, I think a lot of folks who are actively thinking about a career pivot, the folks who are in place in roles now, they're really looking across the board and trying to figure out, before I leave this job or before I jump into the market, what is it that I really need from work in general? What is the next move for my career? And can I get that at my current company? That's one of the big questions that they're asking themselves. And it's a smart question to ask. Folks are looking across the bow and saying, in the next year, listen to me, in the next year, what could I do now to be in a new position in the next year? That's really important. So people are putting those plans in place now to start to think about what industries are hiring. Am I ready for maybe making a geographic move, right? What am I willing to give up to get a new job? And how do I position myself with the right skills to make sure that when I get into the market full force, that I am matching up the skills that I have with the top skills that people need right now? People are putting those plans in place now and thinking about a year out.
I like to always give people some actionable tips when we have a conversation with you, Andrew. And some of the tips here, they're seeing them on screen for job seekers. We're going to layer on another part to this too, though. When you're negotiating that salary, if you are switching jobs, what are the things that you should be keeping in mind and taking to that negotiation table?
Yeah, I mean, I think that one of the things that you got to think about is industries. One of the things that we talk about a lot is transferable skills. You may say, well, I'm a tech guy or I'm a consumer goods person. But what can I do to take those transferable skills to other industries that may be hiring and that those other industries that may have higher pay bands, right? So thinking about, okay, well, if I have legal skills and I'm a lawyer, or if I'm a marketer, or if I'm a communications person, those skills are highly transferable. I can take those to any industry. Let me look at the industries that are hiring, and across the bow of those industries, which ones have the highest pay bands. And that means you got to do a lot more research in terms of looking at those job openings to say, okay, what industries are hiring and what industries that are hiring are paying the highest pay bands. That's a really smart way to start to think about how you put together your strategy for that big move.
Just lastly, while we have you here, and this one is a curveball for you because I know that you're so skilled at what you do, but there's a lot more chatter, a lot of increasing thought, we should say, for employees that are afraid that their job might get taken by AI. But there's also a thought process of, how can I best equip myself to work with some of these tools and maximize my own productivity? How are you hearing that discussed? How are you hearing some who are in the workforce best position their own skill set to leverage new technology in order to be able to kind of maximize their own output?
Brad, I love this question because I think that there's a school of thought of people who are willing to sort of race with the machine and those who are thinking I'm going to rage against it. I think that the number one thing that folks need to start doing is start to play with AI tools, ChatGPT or GitHub, or even using Copilot at work, to start to get familiar with what the tools can do and how they can best be used in your line of work. I would also say that if you do not have AI skills, or if you are not AI conversant, you need to start taking some courses around it. You can go on LinkedIn Learning. Tons of those courses are free right now. If you don't know what a large language model is, you need to get on there and start to play with those tools, and you need to start getting your skills up. We have our research says that 71% of hiring managers are saying that they're willing to hire someone with AI skills and less experience over someone with more experience and no AI skills. That's a big deal. Don't be afraid of that. Actually lean into it and start to play with those AI tools and get those AI skills, and then talk about those AI skills on your resume and on your LinkedIn profile. Here's the deal. My prediction for this year is that the number one question that hiring managers and recruiters are going to start asking job candidates is, how are you using AI tools and AI skills in your work, your professional and your personal lives? And job candidates should be ready to answer that question and answer it with confidence, because they will likely get it. It's a big deal. I would say, too, for people from underrepresented groups, I think it's also a really important thing for all of us to get those skills too, because AI tools and AI skills could actually be career accelerators for folks who have been, sort of underemployed in the past, or maybe have gone into jobs thinking, this is going to be my stepping stone job, and then once I get inside, I'll do this next thing. AI is going to be in high demand. There's going to be a lot of eyes on on people with AI skills, and they're going to be getting tapped for new opportunities much faster.
See, I knew you were up to the task. Andrew McCaskill, LinkedIn career expert. Andrew, great to see you as always.
Always.